Hello everyone, my name is Roya and today I'm coming to you with the books that I read in the latter half of March. So there are a lot of books to talk about here, so I'm going to go through them really quickly, starting with The Subtle Art of Resistance, Lessons from Cats for Surviving Fascism. This is a really cute, super short book about different lessons we can take from cats about how to survive fascism, exactly what it sounds like. It's told in a very cute way, and the lessons in it are really cute, like be unpredictable, blah blah blah, but it's really relevant and really relates everything back to how fascists operate and how to actually disrupt what they're trying to do. So I cannot recommend this enough. It's really uplifting while also being super practical. Fall That Saved Us. This is about an angel or a Nephilim and a demon who fall in love. I was really bored for like more than half of this book, basically because it just had no plot until a good chunk of the way through the story, and also the relationship was all about sex instead of the relationship, and I really don't prefer that at all. A lot of sex does nothing for me if I have not gotten to know the couple and why I want them to be together. So I just felt like there was just a whole lot of sex for like the first half of the book, and whereas the actual relationship dynamic does not come into play for most of that time, and it was annoying as heck. So I really expected more from this book, but it really did not get good until almost the end. The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Kowal, and I think that honestly Mary Robinette Kowal's writing is probably just not my jam. I thought that this idea was really good, but I feel like every book of hers that I've read has been told in such a boring way and just presented the plot and all the information in just such a boring way that does not make me want to like keep reading to figure out what happens. So this was a book that was just an absolute slog to get through, which is just way too bad because the idea itself about, you know, very smart women becoming astronauts and everything was really a great idea. But this book just did not do it for me, and I'm really sad. The Wolf by Leo Carew. This is pretty much, it's pretty typical, honestly. I was expecting a lot more from this book, and it ended up being a really typical fantasy that, while packed with battles and political intrigue and all kinds of stuff, was really pretty dry and pretty boring and very devoid of any women in the story, and because there are very few women who show up in this, and the women who are in this are not treated very well by the narrative of the story. I'm not saying the male characters, I'm saying the whole narrative of the story. There was like the occasional random sentence about women in here that just gave me the ick and everything, while not being overtly like bad towards women. I just felt a little bit like I need to start avoiding books written by men. A Declaration of the Rights of Magicians. This is a historical fantasy that is very historical. The fantasy elements are in it mainly for the just making it fantasy, giving it that little extra something. And it was really well researched. It was really interesting. It really did play out kind of historically how everything was and all of that. But it had magic in it. And I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was really cool that way. Dare to Lead. This was my my Works Book Club pick for this month and next month. This is basically about how to lead people, what to tell people to get them to do what you need them to do, and you know, and it had a lot of really good points in there. I also really liked how there was a point about if discussions of race are happening, even if you're someone privileged, you still need to listen to what's going on because you need to know. Spells to Forget Us. This is about two girls who keep meeting each other, and every time they start going out, they remember that this is not the first time that they've met and started going out. And then every time they break up, they forget about each other again. So this is basically throughout this story, several times they keep getting together, they forget about each other, get back together, remember everything, forget about each other again when they break up, all of that. And it is so weird, and it's just such an interesting concept. But I did think that it could have been a lot better because I thought that the paranormal aspect of it was really not as fitting to the story as it could have been. Like, it could have just made a lot more sense in the rest of the story, because this really felt like mostly a contemporary, but then, oh, here's this paranormal element that gets like thrown in. And I think that while it was necessary, I think that it could have just fit with the rest of the story a lot better. Poet Square, this is the best, one of the best books that I read this month easily. This is about, it is a memoir of a woman who basically moves into a place that had a colony of feral cats and ended up having to be the person who took care of them. And this was so good. And it tells the story about how she got into, how that ended up getting her into going to other places to trap other people's cats and getting them spayed and neutered and take care of them and all of that. And with every chapter, things relate from the cats back to her own life or to human issues as well. And so I thought that this whole book was so good. It comes out this month, so definitely keep an eye out for it. It was so good. Beasts of War, this is the third book in a series, so I'm not really going to go into exactly what it was about or anything like that, but I do think that the second book in this series was the best one by far. I think that this one didn't really add anything else, and that made me a little sad, but overall I thought that this series was pretty well done. I just thought that the first two books were a lot better than this one. And finally, The River Has Roots. This was a really short book about basically it's basically like a retelling of the story of the sister who dies and has to come back as just her voice through an instrument and warn everybody about what happened. But in this scenario, it's literally basically that, except that she wasn't killed by her sister. She was killed by just a bad guy. And so there wasn't really that urgency in there for me. It kind of felt like, why did she necessarily have to come back and tell people what happened when, even though obviously there was a reason why, it just felt like the stakes were not as high, and it wasn't just the fact that it wasn't a revenge plot anymore just took away a lot of the urgency. I don't know, but I thought that this was kind of a good book. I just thought it could have been a better story had it not necessarily gone into that and had a lot more stuff to it instead. So anyway, those are the books that I read in the latter half of March. Let me know if you have any thoughts on any of these books, if you've read any of these, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye!